So I'm wondering whether I should aim for more. Just to be clear, I'm not in a hurry to see results. I'm thinking more long term. More long term, yes, you can absolutely see results of 20 minutes a day. Absolutely, 100%. What I would do is, choose what is most realistic for you to stick to long term and what you enjoy the most as well. So aside from plan A or plan B, we just need to make sure that we're being active in our everyday life. So getting our steps in, for example. But if you choose to do plan A or plan B, that is absolutely great. 20 minutes a day is perfect. It's fantastic. And if that's something that you can keep showing up for and is sustainable for you, it gives you energy. Our workouts are short, they're very efficient and they're very effective, and they will give you results. And if that is 20 minutes is manageable, you can do it every single day and get into that consistent routine, perfect, amazing. Keep doing that. If all of a sudden you feel like, oh, do you know what? I want a bit more of a challenge, actually, and I'd like to add on plan B as well, so I can get a bit more, I don't know, upper body strength in there, as we've just been talking about, or so I can get a bit more Pilates work in there. I feel like that's doable for me. I feel like I've got time. Then great. Or some days you might want to do the double. And if that gives you energy, it adds to your day, you feel really good, you feel challenged, then great, do that too. But either plan A or plan B is perfect. And in terms of the current guidelines for exercise and activity, it's also perfect. So the current guidelines are 150 minutes of moderate exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous. Essentially, and 2 strength sessions. So essentially, if you follow ours, they have 2 strength sessions in there. You're going to get your workout minutes. It's going to hit in between those 2. So the rest of the time, as long as you're walking outside of that, the 150 minutes includes walking as well, getting your steps in. So over 7,500 on average, you are absolutely more than covered. So yes, you can follow either plan A or plan B and see results. Having to caveat that, if someone was showing up for the workouts, putting absolutely no effort in, never challenging themselves with their weights, never pushing themselves in a sculpt class, lying there for an entire Pilates class and not trying, then of course they're not going to see as great results as somebody who is. But the most important thing, I know everyone knows that as well. Like, yes, we do need to make an effort when we do the sessions, right? They're short, effective, but we have to put, whatever we want to get out of it, we've got to put in it, right? That goes without saying. But yes, it's absolutely fine to follow either or. And the most important thing to do is find a routine that works for you, even if the routine is a different time every day. But, if 5 20-minute workouts a week work great for you and that's something you can consistently stick at, that is way better than someone who does an hour sporadically, maybe once or sometimes twice randomly a week or whatever. There's 20 minutes each day is amazing. It's really, really great. And by the way, if you only have time to do weekend warriors, that is also great, by the way. I'm talking more about someone who is very inconsistent with exercise. It's much better to do little and often and keep that consistency going than someone who does an hour here, an hour there, randomly, and there is no real plan to it. There's no real structure to it. And then they'll be off exercise for 3 weeks. It's much better to do little and often than that. I've got a question for next week about heart rate zones. Which heart rate zone should I be in when I'm exercising? I'm mostly in zone 1 and 2, I watch, and I occasionally get into zone 3, but that's on a clean and press in stronger, so not for very long. I seem to do most of my cardio in stronger classes. Am I pushing myself in class enough? Because I never hit zones 4 and 5. Most of my exercise is in zone 1. In Pilates, I sweat, but I don't move out of zone 1. Okay, so these are heart rate zones, and zone 5 would be, if you're doing a sprint, you would reach zone 5 for a short amount of time. Zone 5, we never really need to be specifically aiming for that, really, rarely for overall fitness. In all of them, of course, it's going to depend on what you're working towards, but we never really need to be spending a long time in zone 4 and 5. I would say maybe 10% of our week, roughly, in that. So yeah, it's great to challenge the cardiovascular system. And I would be putting in 1 to 2 exercises a week where we really do challenge the heart rate zone. So have a class where we're in zone 3, maybe tapping into zone 4, maybe even a tiny bit of zone 5. But if you don't ever hit zone 5, please don't worry. That doesn't mean you're not pushing yourself. For overall fitness, most of your time, I'd say roughly about maybe 60% should be in zone 1 and 2. Roughly. Now, if we're looking at a Pilates workout, I wouldn't expect you to come out of zone 1 because a Pilates workout is more about our core. It's about our posture. It's about challenging our muscles as opposed to getting the heart rate up. So just because we don't get the heart rate up, it doesn't mean that we're not working our body hard. There's different types of fitness. So we've got our cardiovascular fitness. There's also the type of fitness that's going to work our core. It's going to work on mobility, our flexibility. And there's also the fitness that works on muscles and on muscular endurance and on muscle tone and getting stronger. Now, we don't necessarily need to be in a high heart rate zone to get stronger. And in a stronger class, I would presume that most people will be in zone 1 and 2 and maybe hit a zone 3 and a clean and press. So everything that I see is here, or I hear here, isn't out of the ordinary and what I would expect. I wouldn't expect somebody to be in zone 3 for an entire stronger class and then zone 4, unless maybe they're really new to fitness and their heart rate is super, super, super high. I wouldn't really expect that, nor would I be trying to chase it in a strength class. You know, I can do a strength class and my heart rate is really quite low. Unless, maybe if I do like a move where there's a burst, for example, like a clean and press or like a really heavy squat, it might just spike. It might spike for a short moment, but I'll be spending most of my time probably in zone 2, zone 1, roughly. Zone 1 and 2 mainly. And it doesn't mean that we're not working hard. We're working our muscles extremely hard. So you might get to an end of a stronger class, feel like you've been working really, really hard, but spent the whole time in zone 1 and 2. That just means that our heart hasn't been working as hard, but we're not necessarily working our heart because the cardio isn't the focus in that class. There is a cardio element to stronger, partially, but it's not the focus. The focus is challenging our muscles. So I'll be looking at other things like, did I reach almost a point of failure? Did I manage to get through the whole squat track, feel really challenged, but at the same time kept my technique all the way through? How am I feeling now? Am I feeling strong? And we don't have to absolutely, what's the phrase, bust a gut every time we do a stronger class either. I would be choosing, a couple of 1 to 2 strength classes a week where I really go for it. And if I only do 2, I'd probably, maybe really go for it in those 2 because they're just 20 minutes long. But if I'm doing 3 strength sessions a week, I'll probably have one where I'm not, going to failure. I'm there, I'm present, I'm doing the class, I'm challenging myself, but not maximally. Anyway, that's going off on a bit of a tangent, really. But as essentially, as I mentioned, about 60% of the week, probably in zone 1, 2, maybe a little bit zone 3, but I'd be looking more for that probably in things like dance fitness, in aerobics, in step aerobics, in a sculpt class, in a combat class. Again, I wouldn't be expecting to see the whole entire class in zone 3 either, but expecting us to be spending a longer proportion in zone 3 and maybe in stronger classes, never even hitting zone 3. And I certainly wouldn't be trying to chase a zone 4 or a zone 5 in a strength class. What you might find as well is that as you get fitter, you might find it harder to hit the higher heart rate zones, because you're literally becoming more efficient. You're becoming more efficient at basically using oxygen. So you might find that actually your heart doesn't need to pump as hard and as fast because you're more efficient. You're more efficient at using oxygen. So I would say, in terms of, the zones, Pilates, zone 1, I'd find it a bit strange if we're in a zone 3 doing Pilates. And again, zone 1 doesn't mean that it's easy workout. It can be really, really, really hard. You can feel like your core might be about to split apart. But I'm not saying you should chase that either. But what I'm trying to say is, just because we're in a zone 1, it doesn't mean that it's not a hard workout. It just means that it's not working our heart really hard.